Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
Hey, Radio Bypass. We are back with another great chat. This time around, we are joined by a man who has given us just a ton of great music over the years. And just this year, 4 albums with this man's name on it. And we are talking to Mr. George Lynch. How are you, George?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming by Radio Bypass. I appreciate your time. So, man, you've been so prolific over the whole course of your career, but this year especially, you've blown my mind because you've had something come out in May, something in August, something in September, something in October. Just amazing amount of work that you've put out this year.
Well, I'm gonna, as this is part of my new business plan, I'm gonna start the Mr. Scary George Lynch subscription service, and then you sign up for like $99 a month or a year, whatever. I don't know. I haven't determined the price yet. And then you get all the records in your inbox, right? I think they call it. This is what the kids are calling it, your inbox.
Okay. Yeah.
When we were kids, it was called a mailbox, right?
Exactly.
They changed it to that. So, anyways, and then you just get these. You get a new record like every 3 months. It's like the. Remember when we were younger, we had you could get the joke was, hey, I got a record deal. And you go, yeah, with who? I go, Columbia Records, right? Where you get 12 records.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like the new version of that. What do you think of that?
I think it's great. Maybe the way to go with it is just like a wine club or something. You know, you get a song a month or something like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
And maybe with the song, you do a video for every song. How about that?
I think that's a great idea.
You know, okay, I've had that idea for a long time, so I don't appreciate you ripping off my ideas again. So I will see you in court, my friend. I think you know my lawyers. Right? I got very good lawyers.
Hey, I know you want to take over 51% ownership of Radio Bypass too. So, we'll both be just pulling in tons of money.
Well, as we mentioned off the air, that 51% controlling interest of nothing is still nothing. But
exactly,
we'll let our lawyers work that out.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get them on the case.
You know, and being we're probably similar age. You probably know familiar with the law firm that I use. Dewey, Cheatham and Howe.
I thought you might be going there. Oh man, that's funny. Well, so George, let's talk about, I guess, Lynch Mob first, because that's kind of a big deal, I think, because I think that there's been a lot of talk. The new album's Babylon. It's great. I especially love Caught Up. That's like my number one track off of that record. But they're all great. The Sinner and Time After Time. But Caught Up, there's something about that song that's extra special. So let's talk about that. Where your singer is great. And I was wondering how did you find him?
Nothing. It was not really a story there. You know, it's not anything interesting. It's like when you ask somebody, where do you get your ideas from? You know, it's like, I don't know, somebody, a guy called me, hey, check this guy out. I checked him out. He's great. We're in a band together. I know. I'm sorry. I wish I need to invent a cooler story. Like, actually, no, I will tell you this. I'm sorry. That's not how we met. I was doing a show in Key West, and on an off day, I took a kayak trip to the Tortuga Islands, which is towards Cuba, right? And there's an old Spanish fort out the end. There's no roads that go there or anything. And so you're out in the open ocean, and you're going from island to island, key to key, and towards Cuba. And then I was out in the middle of the water there, and I saw this dinghy with this raft, and this guy was rowing along, and he was singing while he was fishing, and it was this Gabriel, but I didn't know him, and it but he was in distress and had been lost and dehydrated. So, I helped him and gave him some water, and we tied off his boat to my boat, and then we paddled back to the nearest key, which is it was nobody lived there, and there was crocodiles, and it was dangerous, and night was coming. So we called the Coast Guard, and they rescued us. But on our trip back, we bonded, and we started, there was acoustic guitar on there, and we started playing, and it was a couple-hour trip, and he started singing. I go, "Oh man, you're a great singer." And he goes, "Well, thank you." We came up with some ideas, and Caught Up is the first thing we wrote together. We wrote it on that trip, actually.
No way.
And the rest is history. So I made all that up, of course. That's not how we met, but the truth is so boring. I had to come up with something interesting.
That's pretty good, spur of the moment to come up with that. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm really good at lying. One of my specialties.
Oh, George, that's hilarious. But no, really, it's a great album. And so I know I had seen some talk, and you can clarify this. So Lynch Mob, as under that name, you're planning on playing throughout 2024, and then kind of retiring the Lynch Mob name, or what's the plans for Lynch Mob? I know you got a gig coming up at the end of December.
Right. The end of our last show will be Monsters of Rock Cruise in early March of 2025. So we're going to work furiously up till then. But then what we'll do is what Kiss and Motley Crue did, and we'll come out with the final ride once again. Just Kidding tour.
Got it.
I wouldn't do that. No, that'll be it. But that's a long ways away. That's a year and a half. So we're booking a lot of shows. People really, but it's kind of like, we kind of want to go out on our own terms. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the idea behind it. It's a great band, super solid. We're all friends. We're firing on all cylinders. Let's end that way rather than the way,
Sure.
People fighting or people quitting, a revolving door, and marginal records, and just sort of in a state of disarray. I don't want that. So we got a very solid thing going on here right now. So end it on our own terms with a bang instead of a whimper.
Awesome. I think that's great. But yeah, because this new album should be played live. So I'm glad that you are planning on doing that.
Yeah, we do 3 songs off the record right now. We're gonna add a couple more to the set list, and then we rotate our set list every night. So we pull things in and out and do jams and stuff like that. So we try to keep it loose. But yeah, we're gonna represent the record as well as we can. I mean, you got to be careful with that, obviously, because I'm the same way. We're all the same way. We don't want to go see legacy bands and have them play their new material.
I hear that a lot, and I guess I'm the exception to that rule. I still get excited about whether, no matter who it is, really, even if it was Aerosmith, anybody. Yes, of course, there's certain songs you hope to hear, but I get excited about new music from my legacy artists. I really do. But I know I'm probably in the minority there.
Well, yeah, because you're buying the new, or not buying, but you're being exposed to the new music and you're into it. And I'm the same way, but that most people aren't like us, They're there to hear the hits.
Yeah.
And that's what we're being paid to play,
So River of Love is in the Lynch Mob set then?
River of Love will always be in the set. Wicked will always be in the set. And, we do a fair amount of Dokken material too, when we're not playing with Dokken, obviously. Mr. Scary is obviously, we got to do that. But we pepper our set with Dokken because, I wrote those songs, I'm heavily involved with 95% of any of those songs. So, they're my creation just as much as anything else I've created since then. So, it's part of the timeline, it's important.
Right.
And they're the biggest songs that I've been involved in. So, of course, they get the most recognition and the most reaction generally. So it's important that we weight our set with, with a good amount of Dokken material as well. So it's hard. So a Lynch Mob set on a headline show can be pretty adventurous because, again, we try to pepper it also with, things that aren't so well known, like newer songs, from the past 15 years, of records from the past 15 years, or really early stuff like Paris is Burning, which is actually an Exciter song. It wasn't a Dokken song initially. There's other early Dokken songs that were Exciter songs as well. Or I'll do something off of Sacred Groove, my first solo record from 92 or whatever it was, 91, 92.
90, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we improvise, we try to make a point, and because I love doing that, of just doing whatever's off the top of our heads and just jamming and fucking around and see where that goes. And that's always that's the highlight of the set, usually for me personally. Of course, it's very self-indulgent of me to do that, but because the audience necessarily doesn't like it very much, but fuck them. I'm just kidding. I love the audience.
That's cool though, that, with all the years that you've been at this, that's still fun for you. That still excites you to do that.
That's the primary thing that drives me, because I grew up with doing that. That our bands were jam bands in the truest sense, not like the jam bands of today. And I know I'm sounding like some old man, but these kids today and their jam bands, that's not jamming. In our day, we jammed,
right.
But it's true. I mean, we're literally, that's the driving force of my music is improvisation. And I love the mystery of music and the creative process, and that's the source of everything. So, I love it. And so when I get on stage and I feel a moment of inspiration, it's really kind of the genesis of everything we do, from songwriting to, the inspiration for what we do and all this kind of stuff. It's like, God damn, this is a other thing. This isn't playing some song you played 1,000 times. This is like creating something, and the audience is getting to witness this creative moment, and it's in real time.
I was just going to say, right, it's on the spot. Yeah.
That happened with Hendrix and Zeppelin and lots of other bands in that era, but maybe Cream, but not even Cream, because, I'm talking about coming up with something just off the top of your head and going with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than extended improvisational solos. That's what, that's what Cream did, and that was cool. But Hendrix did the thing where it would just go somewhere else, and he was just stream of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And I think Beck did that too. I mean, I think that's how Beck wrote. I think I can identify with that, and that's in my bones. So, and it doesn't always go well. But usually it does. A lot of times, here's the thing: you got to have a band that's willing to cooperate and listen to each other and be adventurous enough and brave enough to do that. That's the challenge. Because if they're just look, this is ridiculous. Let's just get to the songs we know and get back to the hotel and get paid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the right state of mind to have when you're going into something like this. This is like losing yourself in the moment and forgetting about space and time and just and letting whatever it is carry you to the next thing. I don't want to make it sound so spiritual or whatever, but I don't know what it is.
But it is that. It is that.
Very mysterious. And I love that, because I don't want to know the answers to why that happens. I don't want to know clinically, theoretically, why certain synapses are firing or, whatever chemical reactions are occurring or whatever. I just like to think of it as a beautiful, mysterious thing that is at the foundation of life and makes life worth living and makes it beautiful. And that's why I do what I do. And that's what improvisation represents to me. It's the physical realization of the manifestation of that. And so it's almost like it's a very powerful thing for me to be involved in. And when you're playing with some guy who's just like, come on, man, let's play Wicked Sensation and get back to the Holiday Inn Express. Fuck. Like
But see,
cock blocking bummer guy.
but you thinking that way, though, I think that's part of the reason that you probably are such a great guitar player and have been recognized for the magic that comes out of your fingers. Because when you feel that deep inside, and like you say, it is kind of a spiritual thing. I think for the best guitar players that I've ever heard, that is what they do. They kind of get lost in that moment and roll with it. And that's where then for me as a listener, that's what I love about that, because you're that person's soul is coming out of their fingers, in my opinion. So I think it's cool when guys do something like that.
It doesn't always work, by the way.
No, maybe, but who cares? You live in the moment, If it's great, it's great. If it's so, it's so.
It does, yeah. It doesn't always end well, but I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, no, every single moment in time is its own thing, So,
Yeah.
and nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's making a statement that the journey is what matters, not the destination, with all things. So, including our musical careers. So, really, a jam session is kind of a microcosm of the whole musical journey of your whole musical careers, individually and collectively as a band. I think that's the way you can look at it. That's the way I like to look at it, because I decided to look at it that way.
Makes sense, George. So, all right. So Lynch Mob Babylon, we kind of got off at our jamming and stuff. So a lot of shows coming up with that. And then the other thing this year, just in September, was your Guitars at the End of the World. And you've touched on Mr. Scary earlier, and I have to tell you, I was a DJ at a radio station in Chicago when that album was new. And every local guitar player that I knew at the time, some of which were very good, after that song, after I played that on my radio show for the first time, I had many people tell me, oh man, I don't know how to play guitar anymore. So that song was just life-changing to every guitar player in Chicago, I think. But in your recent one, in Guitars at the End of the World, I kind of feel that way. I think, and I don't know if you would agree. I mean, it's probably not maybe on the same level as Mr. Scary, but I think Psycho Beta kind of is like that too. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, that I kind of conceived of that as sort of an interlude. That was actually an afterthought on the record. It was sort of like I was a track short. When I delivered the record to the record company, I was like, damn, I didn't read the contract. I was like one song short. So I just I called Brian back, and the drummer, and just sort of like, man, we gotta come up with something. I got to come up with something. So I recorded some parts, and I just sort of Frankenstein them together, and played some crazy shit over it, and just kind of, I'm not going to lie and say I put a lot of thought into that one, but it was fun. I just kind of went with my gut and for my shot from the hip on that one. And I didn't even know if it's really a song. It's just sort of a kind of an experimental thing that I just threw together, which is, I don't know. So,
That's
but from
amazing.
a guitar standpoint, my whole premise in playing guitar is to sort of discourage and despirit all other guitar players. Yeah. So that they just get jobs at like Taco Bell or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, you are too funny.
I'm kidding.
Well, anyway, that's
I have no business even attempting that, because I have no idea what I'm doing. So I couldn't honestly do that if I tried. I get around guitar players that are actually good. I'm like, just my mind is blown. Guys like Holkstra or even Richie Faulkner, who's my son-in-law, and he's a natural. It's just an absolute natural, and I've sat there with him enough times to know that. Listen, I have to work at it. I fake it. I'm all smoke and mirrors. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to rely on inspiration and whatever other trick I can think of to fool you into think I'm a good guitar player. This guy's the real deal over here. It's just those guys, and I've known enough of those guys to know that that's a different animal. That's not what I am. And
you really believe that after all the music you've created over the last 4
I
decades.
I have a way of getting there, but it's not that way. I don't know how honest it is. I mean, it is honest in the sense that when I'm on, I'm on. I'm not sure why I'm on. I just try to set things up. I get a good tone, good frame of mind. I make sure that I'm well rehearsed, and I've got a good band behind me, and everything's sounding good. And then I just let whatever happens take over. But those guys I'm talking about are consistently just monsters, and they know what they're doing. I'm not that guy. I'm just going by. I'm like an old hippie. I'm just going with the spirit of the flow. Whatever. Different animal.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
That's why I have a big problem with recreating anything I've ever played, because including Mr. Scary, or almost anything, is just I don't remember what I did, because when I'm recording, I'm just, there's only one solo I've ever preconceived of when I went into the studio, and that was Tooth and Nail. Everything else I've ever recorded in 50 years or whatever it's been has been off from the seat of my pants, just spur of the moment improvisation that I then kind of work out. I compose in the studio, but I don't remember it afterwards, and I don't know technique, in theory. So I don't really know scales and things like that. So I'm not like I could go, oh, I know what I was doing here. I don't know what I was just kind of playing off the top of my head, and then I have to go back and learn this stuff, and it's impossible. So I bring that up because I just Jeff Pilson and I and Steve Brown, Mick Brown's brother, and Girish, our new singer for the End Machine, just did a couple of videos last week. Jeff is a disciplinarian, and he knows me very well. We've been friends for half a century, and he says, George, you listen to the song. I go, wow, I've been busy. He goes, listen, man, this is the night before. He goes, you got to really, can you listen to it and try to learn it? I go, I will. And of course, that night I was very busy. I didn't have time, and I was busy. And so I got up, and I had to pick him up at 8:00 in the morning. He lives, like 10 minutes from my house. I had to pick him up because we had an hour something drive out into the desert for the location. And so I didn't have any time in the morning. I thought I was going to get up extra early and try to learn the song. I didn't. So he gets in the car. He goes, did you listen to the song? I go, no. He goes, I figured. And he was somewhat disappointed, and I felt bad, because he just wants me to look good, and he wants me to play it properly. So I get it. And so, but he didn't get angry. He was just slightly disappointed, and he's my friend. I don't want to disappoint him. So when we got to the location, we set aside, 20 minutes before each take of each video to go over the song, and especially the solo. It was very difficult solos on both songs, and I got it, and it blew my mind that I got it because of Jeff, because he sat me there and he goes, we took it, 4 bars, 8 bars, little sections, play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again. Got that in your bones? Okay, next section. Okay, now play that whole section. Okay, now we're going to the next section. Now learn that way. And these are extended, intricate solos, and I had to learn it this way. I thought, I'm never going to be able to do this. And I did it. And he said to me too, he goes, that's probably, and I've been playing with you for half a century, and he goes, that's probably the best solo you've ever played in your life. Solo on that song I can't remember the name of the song. And it's kind of like a Tooth and Nail thing, where it's just real involved, and it goes through all these changes and stuff, and different flavors and sounds and stuff like that. And we did the video, and I nailed it. And he sat there as almost like directing. He was literally directing it, I guess. So he sat there while I was doing my solo takes, and they were doing up close to my fingers. And he goes, let's not bullshit this one, man. Let's make sure you see everything, and you're playing everything. For those guitar players out there, that's what they want to see. Don't fake it. I'm going to have to picture your back or cut away to something else. And we did it, and it was honest, and I nailed it, and I felt very good about that. So, but I only have Jeff to thank for that.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's so funny to hear you say that, because you picture, like, I don't know, I guess we could use Tooth and Nail as the example. It's hard to picture you having to go back to listen to the record if you're going to, if you know you got a gig coming up where you're playing that song live. It's hard to imagine you having to sit there like an aspiring guitar player would do and listen to it and say, okay, what I got to play. Okay. I just get, that's hilarious to hear you saying that you sometimes have to do something similar to that.
I have to do that even with the old songs to a lesser extent because even though I play Dokken and early Lynch Mob stuff a lot, and I'm familiar with it, I don't really need to rehearse it. But what I found is that I've drifted away over the years and decades from the original thing I played. And people will point that out. My tech will point it out, or somebody that I'm talking to, or somebody else in the band. And then I'll hear the original song. I go, oh shit, that's not what I was playing at all. I have to go back and kind of update my version of it, so it's a little more correct. Mr. Scary is I'm worse with that. I go off and tangents with that song and don't play anything related to what the song is on the solo sections, and I have to kind of rein myself back in and be more disciplined and apply myself and try to make it more like the record. And that's true with just about every song that I play live in the set. Some people like that. They go, oh man, you play everything. Every night's different. Every time we go see Lynch Mob,
yeah,
it's a different show. You play everything different. The band plays different songs. It's a different everything. I go, yeah, well, that is true. I call it like the snowflake effect. No two are the same. I don't mean snowflake in the political sense. I just meant, in the sense that they're unique. And not by design necessarily, just because we're human and that's just how we are. And so some people think that is a plus. But then I do shows with Dokken, and sometimes I go out and guest at the end of the night, and I play 3 or 4 songs, to kind of wrap up the show. Mm-hmm. And they bill it as kind of a reunionist kind of reunions light, I don't know what you call it, but anyways, so I go out there and I had that discussion with Don too. I was at first I was kind of not nailing the solos. I just kind of do whatever I want to do. And he goes, no, man, people want to hear you play that stuff. No for no. These are big songs. And he was right. And so I reapplied myself and I went back and I tried to be more accurate. And he's right about that. And then there are songs where you can take more liberties, I think, which are maybe songs that aren't as recognized, solos people don't have in their heads, and they want to see you create that just like they remember hearing it. So something off a newer record, maybe you could have more liberties, and kind of go off. So yeah, it's a balancing act I have to try to achieve.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, besides,
is that why you're snoring?
What's that?
Is that why you're snoring? Is that sort of like
no? I think it's cool. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking to myself because let's face it. You know this. You've been on top guitar lists for different magazines, probably Rolling Stone for sure. Guitar player. I mean, everybody knows what an incredible guitar player.
I didn't make the Rolling Stone list this year. Apparently,
you did not. See, I don't even pay attention to those things.
Well, that's what I say when I don't make the list. That's what I say too. And 250. I will say there's only 250 guitar players on that list. So
yeah, it's a short list.
It's a short list. So, but apparently my management got a hold of Rolling Stone, the guitar list people over there. It's a big office, skyscraper in New York City, and the big guy over there, he said George Lynch was 251. So if it had been the top 251 guitar players, I would have been on the list.
There.
Tell you what, I think it would be almost cooler to be the last guy than the first guy, because first guy's got to be Jimi Hendrix, of course, right? Or whoever,
For me, Jeff Beck, it would have to be.
Those guys, Beck, Eddie, all the big guys. But then, you're not going to be in that group, so you're going to be down like fucking 32 or something. I'd rather be 251 because at least you're, kind of stand out. You're not in the middle somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, dude, you just are cracking me up.
What I found out though about the list? It's pay for play.
Is it? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes. So they don't overtly say you got to give us money. They just imply it by letting you know that you could make a donation to the Rolling Stone Fund or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know.
Right.
And the bigger the donation, the higher the placement miraculously you get. So, I heard Joe Satriani gave him like, it was like $12,000.
Yeah.
He got on the list.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, of course.
I know you are. But it actually, in today's world, it almost wouldn't surprise me, though. But
yeah, I sent him a gift certificate. They're called Lynch bucks that are redeemable on my website for George Lynch merchandise. But I guess that didn't go very far. I think could have got a hefty discount on a fucking Mr. Scary T-shirt, but whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's one more thing I want to ask you. I know we're probably getting into overtime here, but real quick, Mr. Scary Guitars, you're still doing that? You're still building guitars? You're a luthier as well?
I'm there every day when I'm in California. I have a shop here in California, in Newhall, and I've got some guys helping me out, and I've got 20 machines, and we got an office, and we got a CNC, and we've got a refrigerator a box from Home Depot. That's our spray booth. So we're keeping it real. You might, if you come by there, you'll see like a 70-year-old man out there with a fucking rattle can inside a refrigerator box with a guitar body going like this. Yeah, that's Mr. Scary Guitars. That's our level of professionalism that we try to maintain. That our refrigerator repair box, our refrigerator boxes.
Paint booth, yeah.
Well, we don't keep using the same one. Like when it rains, we go to Home Depot, we get a new one. You know what I'm saying? Because we have standards, very high standards. Mr. Scary Guitar.
Oh my God!
Old boxes for paint booths. Yeah.
Your guitar will never be painted in a box that was rained on.
Hell no. I mean, we try to keep it. Yeah, we try to keep our standards up. Because there's these other companies like Fender, and they got the really new refrigerator boxes. You know what I'm saying? And Gibson, these big fucking honchos at the top of the food chain. Yeah, we're just a little guy, but we still have very high standards. Try to maintain high standards.
And do you have continuous production, or are your guitars by order?
I have two kind of business models with this that have evolved that work for me. One is, I have about a half a dozen models. They're sort of in some ways can be similar, but there's 3 or 4 different things that I would consider basic concepts that we could start with that are models, I would call them, that a customer can call and contact us, and then we'll work around that. And then, you get your own inlays and pickups and hardware and colors and different things like that. We change things like that. But I've tried to move away from that because as I get older, it's harder for me to keep track of all this stuff with all my other businesses and everything else I do. It's just, and I'm not a very good businessman. I don't keep good records, and I'm not good with computers, and I don't have a lot of help. So I'm just sort of like, I get in a lot of trouble and I fuck things up. So, quite often, actually. So, and I don't like doing that. I feel bad for people who spend good money and they deserve to be taken care of properly. And so I'll make a mistake and I'll point it out. Like I just finished a guitar for a guy, and he's like, "Oh man, the headstock's going the wrong way, and I didn't want this like that." And I'm like, "Fuck, I'm sorry. You want me to do it over?" He goes, "Nah." I could tell he was disappointed, and I feel bad. So, and that's just who I am. So I can't. So what I'm trying to do now, and what I have been doing successfully, is I do what I call spec guitars. Mm-hmm. So what I just build whatever I want, one at a time, and I just do whatever hits me, just like my songwriting or whatever. I just kind of create something that I think is cool, and when I'm done with it, I put it up for sale. I either keep it or put it up for sale, or I'll play it for a while and I'll sell it. And I like that a lot better, because that way, here it is. You want it, buy it.
Right. That's cool though that you do that. Is that something that you learned to do when as a kid, even building your own guitars, or is that something you developed more recently?
Well, I mean, I've been dabbling with that stuff since I was a kid. Yeah, I used to take my old Tiscos and St. George's Japanese piece of crap guitars, and I'd saw off the fucking horns, change the body shape, refinish them, swap the pickups out, try to do fret, file the frets, and I'd do all kinds of crazy shit with my amps and my guitars. I had no idea what I was doing. I would wreck the guitars, but I learned how to do some things. And by doing that, and then later in life, I had about 13 years ago, I'd say I had a medical issue, and I was in a wheelchair for a while, and I was not be able to get around, and I couldn't tour, I couldn't do much, and I was very frustrated, and so I started taking ESP guitars, gave me a bunch of guitars. I go, hey man, I want to just start working on guitars, something I can do, at home,
Right.
And I started stripping them and doing all kinds of crazy things to them, and just, whatever I could think of. Like I would wrap them in snake skin. I remember I'd get these dried bats and roses, and I'd fill the pickup cavities with those, and then cover them with epoxy and just barbed wire, for binding, and just all this goofy shit. I'd get old vintage cap guns and cut them in half and glue them, countersink them into the bodies, and, shit like that. It was all cosmetic.
Right.
And actually, I looked at it, man, these are cool. And a couple of my friends turned into customers, and they said, hey man, I'd buy that. Would you sell that? I go, yeah. And I had my first friend, he bought 3. This could be like a business, And so I started doing that. Then I moved into ESP for a while and did that for about a year. And then they finally kicked me out of there for insurance reasons. And so I got my own, I started doing them all at home, did in my backyard. I did that for years and years, and then eventually got a shop here in California, and a couple different shop situations. And now I've got my nice shop. It's pretty sweet. It's not open to the public. It's just, where I work. And I've got somebody who works for me, and a few people that work outside of my shop that help me. And we do everything, necks, bodies, inlays, finishes, you name it. It's all, it's very honest and open. I do a lot of videotaping in there and show people what I'm doing, and I love it. And it's very, when I'm working on these guitars and I'm doing the carving and the painting or whatever I'm doing, it's almost like meditation.
I was going to ask you, when you're doing this, is it therapeutic for you to work on guitars?
Yeah, you lose track of time, like I'm sure you do things like that in your life where you're sort of so immersed in it, like building a model plane or something, you're so immersed in it, you're not paying attention to the clock, and it's, and you're so focused. I think that's a good thing, so, and I love it because, at the end of the process, especially when, like me, when I'm not a trained guy, I never went to school to learn anything like this. And you actually end up building something that's beautiful, and people appreciate enough to pay you money for it. I think it's an awesome thing, and I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to accomplish this. And each one of these things is again, it's a unique thing, much like the music, you're creating a unique thing that somebody appreciates and pays you for directly. And that's why I like the guitar building business a little more in some ways than my music business, is the directness of the
reward.
Yeah. It's like I'm building something, I'm putting energy into it, and you're paying me for it immediately. It's not some record company thing where you get some statement 2 years later that shows that you still owe them money or some bullshit.
Right.
This a very direct, honest kind of transaction, which I really do love. So anyways.
That's awesome.
And it's creative.
It's been great talking with you today. You are just amazing. I appreciate the honest conversation. And so, in my mind now, not only are you one of my favorite guitar players, but possibly one of my favorite comedians too, because you're just cracking me up during this.
Wow. Well, some people say guitar playing is the funniest thing I do, but whatever. But yeah.
All right. So to recap, everybody, George and I got off on some different tangents. So 2023, Lynch Mob Babylon. That's the very latest release from Mr. Lynch. Guitars at the End of the World from George Lynch. Awesome. Also, there's a Lynch Pilson Heavy Hitters 2 record, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about that, but really cool takes on the songs that they're covering on Heavy Hitters 2. So check that out. And then Michael Sweet and George Lynch, Sweet and Lynch. This is what, the third Sweet Lynch record, I think? It is, yeah. So Heart and Sacrifice is that one. And on that one, I love the song You'll Never Be Alone. I love that song. That came out in May. So just this year alone, 4 albums from one guy, which blows me away. And then we didn't even talk about some of the other cool stuff you've done in recent times, like that song you did with Terry Luce, Dead or Alive, is Smoking. Great track. That last Dirty Shirley album, or the Dirty Shirley album in 2020, was great. And now you did touch on the End Machine, because I did see Steve Brown posted some pictures from last week. So I did see that looks like it's now on the way with Garish, who it's so cool that you've got him, because when I discovered his band, The Chronicles, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's a motherfucker. That guy's unbelievable. And this record is fucking beyond. It's a phenomenal record. So that people will dig it. And we also
teed up with a release date.
I think it's coming up here, maybe February or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick. Like I said, we just did the videos for it, and album's been done for a while, and it sounds fantastic. And I think we're firing at all cylinders on this one. So this is the best one yet, and probably one of the best records I've ever been involved in. Serafino and the people over at the record company have said that this is the best album they put out in 10 years, and they are on fucking fire for this record. So, I mean, after this, I don't know how much more I can do. It's like, come on, guys, if this doesn't do it, I don't know what else. I mean, I don't got a lot left in the tank. I mean, come on. So I think we nailed it. I'm not going to be presumptive here, but I think it's pretty great. So fingers crossed.
I look forward to hearing it. I'm sure I'll love it. I like the other ones, so I'm sure I'll like these or this one.
Let's do another. Let's do this again when that comes out, and we can
definitely.
Folks.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have another conversation with you. So, everybody, thanks to George Lynch for joining RadioBypass. Like I said, 4 records out. Check him out. I'll probably add a couple of tunes to the end of this interview too, so we'll crank up some music from George. Certainly one of the greatest guitar players that I've heard in my lifetime. And
251 on the Rolling Stones list.
Number 251 on the Rolling Stones list. That's right. And that's pretty impressive, George. Pretty impressive.
Hard to be at the end of the list, man.
All right. Thank you, George. Appreciate your time.
All right, Ralph. Yes, well, I enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you so much.
Dance with demons every night. It's cold as You gotta